Hi, in this video it's Friday the 6th of March 2020 and we're going to look at what's happening now in astrology and where astrology is going through this weekend. So the moon is in Leo, newly in Leo actually. That came in this morning wherever you are in the world. That was 1:27 a.m. Pacific, 4:27 a.m. Eastern, and just a bit after 8 a.m. here in UK, because the other thing that's happening this weekend of course is daylight saving time, and that puts things slightly out of sync for a week or so until everyone catches up. Anyway, we've got a Leo moon now, and there's that desire to be noticed, to be appreciated, and actually to feel as if people want to notice you, to be noticeable, and maybe to feel as if you're the centre of people's attention in some ways. On the other hand, maybe you're not that way at all, and maybe you've got some ideas that need to come out and be seen by people and to be appreciated in that way. That desire is quite strong under a Leo moon, and that's going to be the case right through until Sunday actually, because the moon is going to enter Virgo, and that's in the early hours of Sunday morning. Just checking my book there to make sure I've got it right. So it's very much a Leo weekend through until Sunday morning, and then the Virgo influence comes in and quietens things down a little bit. Anyway, under Leo, people tend to express themselves quite vividly and quite openly because of wanting to get those ideas out there and wanting to be seen. It's actually a great time to do that, a great time to be on stage, anything like that, a great time for showing yourself to the world. Attention to details is a different thing though. That could deteriorate. I'm not saying it will deteriorate, but it could be on the down at a time like this, just as the moon is in Leo. It's not really about the fine details. You may have sorted out all the fine details, and that is really going to help if you're going to be out there on the world stage kind of showing out and acting out. But this isn't the time for those details. The time now is to get out there and get seen. The moon is 84.7% at the moment, very close to full moon, and that is coming up on Monday the 9th of March. That's actually going to be 17:47 UTC. And I think that means 7 hours before that, so 10:47 a.m. on Monday on the Pacific side of the States and Canada, and 1:47 p.m. Eastern. But don't hold me to that. I'm kind of guessing what's happening with daylight saving time there. But in any case, full moon is on the 9th of March, and retrograde Mercury comes out of retrograde on either the 9th of March in the States and Canada or the 10th in UK, and generally speaking in Central Europe. So we are looking at the end of Mercury retrograde, coming very close now, and that is great. There might be a sting in the tail though, so watch out for that this weekend. That is definitely one of the indicators for this weekend in astrology. But after the 9th or 10th in Europe, when Mercury goes direct again, at first Mercury needs to speed up to travel full speed, because retrograde is always about appearing to move backwards as we view it from Earth, and it'll take time for it to start appearing to move forwards at its usual speed. That is the Mercury retrograde post-shadow, and it goes on until the 29th of March, just about wherever you are in the world. So that's there's the Leo influence, and there's the end of Mercury retrograde, and look out for it, because there really can be a sting in the tail of that one. That's the main thing going on this weekend. As we go into it, the Sun is conjunct Neptune. That's been the case for a few days now. It's not so easy to find clear answers to things, because as we try and form a view of what's going on around us, things become unclear, things become uncertain. It is a great time for spiritual reflection though. It's a very creative time, artistically speaking, and leaders tend to be looking to the future, which is the best place to be looking, if you ask me, because we're always headed towards the future. We're never headed towards the past. The past we know all about, so we can leave that in the past. The moon is square Venus at this moment. Social interactions are really quite positive. Decisions and choices tend to be based on people's actual feelings, and the esoteric is very strong. You're going to see more things with your third eye than you're going to see out of the round things at the top of your face with the moon square Venus. Mercury retrograde square Uranus. Well, communication gets interrupted, and communications can actually break down. That is really difficult to call. all, because Mercury retrograde often turns those things on its head, but at the same time it might not. So watch out around communication, okay? Mercury's still retrograde at the end of the day. That's what really counts. Elsewhere in astrology, on Saturday the 7th, with the moon in Leo, Mercury is in Aquarius at the moment. It's going to semi-square Mars, and Mars is in Capricorn, so Mars is very, very grounded indeed. And that really draws our mind into kind of going into quite serious depth on certain things. It really depends who you are and where those planets actually are in your birth chart as to what actually happens. A semi-square is something like 22.5 degrees. It's not very much, but it's 45 degrees, isn't it? Because the square is 90 degrees. It's all these distances in the stars are in degrees because it goes round in a circle. Or does it go that way? That's the question. But more or less it moves. The planets and the star signs move anti-clockwise through the universe as we view them from Earth. And it's all about as we view things from Earth. Okay, so actually today, March the 6th, Mercury semi-sextile Saturn. That is going to cause... people are going to be working harder to find clarity on things, basically. Again, that really depends where these things are in your birth chart. If you haven't had one done yet, please do, because that's really what makes the difference to what astrology really means to you. But as for the main influences, look out for Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrograde is about to end, just about. It'll be all over bar the shouting, and then there'll be the post-shadow. And going forward, it's a Leo moon going into Virgo and coming up to full moon, so the lunar energy is very, very strong this weekend. I hope you have a strong weekend. I hope you have a fun weekend, friends. Hope you get things done that you want to get done. Hope you have a good time. I'll be back on Sunday with a look at the astrology for the week ahead. Thanks everyone who's followed me over to this channel. I'm back and forth, but trying to keep up with YouTube as best I can. So I really appreciate that. Give me a thumbs up, please, if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave me a comment. We'll share the journey, and I'll see you again very, very soon.